Hello friend, I want to tell you about the Honda CR-V car. Engines and gearboxes. The engine range initially included a 2.0 IVTEC K20 petrol unit with 150 horsepower. In the US market, the CR-V was offered only with a 2.4 IVTEC K24 engine with 158 horsepower, coupled to a 4-speed automatic gearbox. European versions were available with both automatic and 5-speed manual gearboxes. In 2004, the range was joined by a 2.2 ICTDI N22A2 diesel generating 140 horsepower. Which engine to choose? With such a modest range of engines, the choice is not difficult. If you prefer petrols, it doesn't really matter whether it's a 2.0 or the very rare American 2.4, provided that in the latter case you agree to an automatic. I'll point out right away that this is a sluggish gearbox, significantly increasing fuel consumption, but very durable. I would expect the manual gearbox to wear out sooner than this automatic. If you prefer a manual, then the 2.0 or diesel unit remains. Diesel is an engine that is chosen more for a specific taste than for savings. It offers 340 Nm of torque, so it is more enjoyable to drive than the 2.4 petrol 220 Nm. However, acceleration to 100 km/h is best in the American version. The diesel is slightly faster in the sprint than the 2-liter petrol. There is no combination of diesel and automatic. The most economical drive variant is a 2-liter petrol with a manual gearbox and LPG installation. With fuel consumption of around 12 L 100 km and current fuel prices, February 2023, the diesel would have to burn about 6 liters on average to be profitable. And that's just a matter of fuel because diesel repairs are much more expensive than petrol repairs. To sum up, if you are looking for driving experience, it is best to choose another model altogether, e.g. Subaru Forester. Do you care about dynamics in CR-V? Only diesel, or if you can find petrol 2.4. If you are looking for savings, a much better solution than diesel is to buy petrol 2.0 and convert to LPG. The best combination of dynamics, comfort and real economy is of course gasoline 2.4 with automatic. You just need to know that American CR-V were also sold with only front-wheel drive. Typical faults in the case of this model: the biggest threat is the engines, but it's not that they are particularly prone to failures. They can simply be the weakest area in a car that is several years old. They are solid and have few failures, but a diesel engine of this age can already generate a lot of problems. Everything here is durable, and the car does not have a DPF filter, for example. But you can still expect to have to replace the dual-mass flywheel, turbocharger, or timing drive. Additionally, the injectors, which are still electromagnetic and come from Bosch, so regeneration will cost about $150 per unit. In petrol engines, there is not such a long list of potentially expensive failures, but here you have to reckon with a typical ailment of K20 and K24 engines, i.e. worn camshafts. Fortunately, there are even replacements available on the market at a price of around $300 to $400 a piece. There are 2 camshafts in the engine, but it is not always necessary to replace both. Additionally, the timing chain may stretch, rarely, or excessive oil consumption, sporadically, depending on mileage. A typical failure is the wear of the knock sensor. The original is expensive and it is best not to buy replacements. Unlike the Accords, the 2.0 engines installed in the CR-V do not have the so-called swollen piston situations due to prolonged high load. The K20 series of engines in the CR-V are the A4 and A5 variants, and this condition is mainly experienced by the A6 engines. That is why these faults happen to Accord owners. Another advantage of the Honda CR-V over the Accord is the design of the front suspension with classic McPherson struts and a properly mounted kingpin, so there is no situation where it suddenly breaks off. The control arm as a replacement costs about $70, and the kingpin itself several dozen dollars. Importantly, the rear suspension control arms are also available as replacements, but the original ones are so durable that even with high mileage, nothing needs to be done to them. They are usually replaced when the rubber in the bushes begins to crumble. A fairly typical problem of this model, similar to the Accord, is the appearance of vibrations on the front axle. Most often, the culprit is not the brake discs or wheels, but the internal joints of the axle shaft, less often the hubs. And they are available in wholesalers, so you don't have to order them at an authorized service station right away. The prices of complete axle shafts are around $150 minus $250 depending on the manufacturer and website. Interestingly, even drive shafts and supports are offered in replacements, as well as steering gears and power steering pumps, which is not at all obvious in such cars. In general, the Honda CR-V is a car well stocked with replacements, but you also have to take into account the authorized service center, because some parts, such as probes or sensors, start working properly only after being replaced with the original. The last thing to remember when buying is corrosion. It appears less frequently on the body, but almost always in the chassis, especially the rear. This is important because it can affect load-bearing elements and suspension mounting points. On the other hand, CR-Vs do not rot as quickly as Accords and Civics. Thanks for listening to me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and rate my video. If you know any problems with this car that I didn't mention, be sure to write about them in the comments.